Hey there. Ready to step into the ring with market psychology.
Oh, I like that.
We're diving deep into the new Trading for a Living by Dr. Alexander Elder, psychiatrist turned trading guru.
It's fascinating how he connects those two worlds, isn't it?
Yeah.
This book really digs into the mental game of trading, something so many people overlook.
Right. And talk about a story, Dr. Elder, he lands in the U.S. with basically nothing, no clue about markets.
Yeah.
Years later, he's a master. He really drives home his point that anyone can learn this, but it takes more than just charts and graphs.
Absolutely. He's
Yeah.
big on self-awareness, recognizing those self-destructive impulses we all have as traders.
Oh yeah.
Chasing excitement, taking wild risks, blaming losses on bad luck. It's like we're our own worst enemy sometimes.
Yeah, he actually compares it to addiction, even suggesting a loser's anonymous for traders. What do you make of that?
It's brilliant when you think about it. Trading can trigger those same reward pathways in the brain as gambling or even substance abuse. Acknowledging that, having support system, it's crucial for staying grounded.
So before we even think about buying or selling, we've got to master ourselves. Intense stuff.
Yeah.
But how does this self-mastery tie into understanding how the market itself behaves?
It's all connected.
Okay.
Imagine the market as this massive emotional being, a crowd driven by fear and greed. Remember that story of people on a sinking ship bidding wildly on a life preserver? That's the market during a bubble or a crash.
Yeah. Oh, it's like that fear of missing out takes over. Logic flies out the window.
Exactly.
So it's not really about predicting the future, but more about understanding the waves of emotion that drive the market.
Exactly. Dr. Elder talks about probabilities, not certainties. It's about managing risk in the face of this unpredictable crowd behavior. And that's where your charts and technical tools come in. They're like windows into the mind of the market.
Okay, let's unpack those tools. Dr. Elder mentions everything from classical charting, like those head and shoulders patterns, to more modern computerized analysis. What are we talking about here?
Think of it like this. Classical charting is like reading ancient maps to navigate the market. You're looking for those visual clues like head and shoulders patterns that might signal a trend reversal. It requires a keen eye and can be subjective.
And the computerized analysis that gives us more concrete data.
Exactly. Instead of relying solely on visual patterns, you're using mathematical formulas to analyze market data. Think moving averages, mass ED, stochastic oscillator. They all help us track momentum, volatility, and potential turning points with a bit more objectivity.
So we're not just relying on gut feeling, which is probably a good thing when things get heated. Dr. Elder also mentions volume and open interest as important indicators. Can you break those down for us?
They're often overlooked, but so powerful. Imagine you're at an auction. A quiet room with a few hesitant bids tells you a different story than a packed house with paddles flying up.
Right.
Volume shows us how many people are buying or selling, while open interest tells us about the total number of contracts held, reflecting the conviction behind the moves.
So it's like gauging the energy of the crowd, seeing if they're truly committed or just dipping their toes in. He also talks about aligning your trading strategy with the right time frame. What's that all about?
He compares it to surfing. You wouldn't try to ride a ripple like you'd ride a massive wave.
Right.
Day trading, where you're in and out of trades quickly, requires a much different time frame than, say, long-term investing, where you're riding out the market's ups and downs over months or years.
Yeah.
Choosing the wrong time frame can be a recipe for disaster. It's about knowing your own goals and risk tolerance. Are you looking for quick profits, or are you building wealth over the long haul? Your time frame should reflect that.
So are those really the two main approaches?
Yeah.
Long-term versus day trading.
Dr. Elder actually outlines, a few options in between, like swing trading, where you're holding trades for a few days or weeks, trying to ride those shorter-term price swings. He dives into the pros and cons of each, emphasizing that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. It's about finding what resonates with your personality and goals.
Okay, so finding our own rhythm, so to speak.
Mhm.
But no matter what time frame we choose, Risk management, it seems like the universal key here.
Yeah.
Dr. Elder calls it the iron triangle.
Yeah.
And he doesn't mess around with this stuff. What's the deal with his triangle?
He's adamant about it for a reason.
Yeah.
It's about protecting yourself no matter how confident you are in your analysis.
Yeah.
First, you've got stop loss orders, your line in the sand, so you're not clinging to a sinking ship.
Yeah.
Then there's position sizing.
Yeah.
How much of your account you're risking on a single trade. He advocates for the 2% rule. Never risk more than 2% of your account on any one trade.
It's like that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And the final piece of the iron triangle is managing your overall monthly risk. The 6% rule. It's about knowing when to step back. Take a breather and protect your capital. He shares a story about a trader who refused to cut a $200 loss. It snowballed into a $98,000 wipeout.
Ouch. That's a painful lesson to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
It really highlights that even with the best analysis, things can go wrong.
Absolutely.
Having that safety net in place is crucial. But even with risk management in check, we still need a solid trading plan, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Elder seems to be a fan of having a system, whether it's mechanical, discretionary, or a blend of both. What's the difference?
It's about finding an approach that suits your personality and trading style. A mechanical system is all about following clearly defined rules, taking the emotion out of it. It's like having a trading robot. If this happens, then do that.
So it's about removing impulsive decisions from the equation.
Exactly. It can be very helpful for those who tend to get caught up in the heat of the moment.
Right.
But even with the mechanical system, some degree of judgment is needed. Markets are constantly evolving, so you need to monitor your system, make adjustments, and be prepared to adapt.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of deal. What about discretionary trading?
That's where you have more flexibility. You might analyze a broader range of factors, weigh them differently based on the situation, and react to changing market behavior more dynamically. But even discretionary traders need some non-negotiable rules, especially regarding risk management.
Finding that balance between structure and adaptability.
Right.
Right. But before we even think about putting real money on the line, Dr. Elder talks about backtesting and paper trading. What are these, and how do they fit into the picture?
They're crucial steps in developing and refining your trading strategy. Backtesting is like running a simulation. You're taking your system and testing it on historical data, seeing how it would have performed in the past.
So it's like a practice run.
Yeah.
Allowing us to see how our strategy would play out in different market conditions.
Exactly. Dr. Elder actually recommends manual backtesting, where you go through the data day by day, simulating your decision-making process. It helps you understand the strengths and weaknesses of your approach and prepares you for the emotional ups and downs of real trading.
That makes a lot of sense. And what about paper trading? Isn't that basically the same thing?
It's similar, but you're using real-time market data. You're not actually putting any money down, but you are making trading decisions as if you were.
Okay.
It helps you practice your execution and emotional control. It bridges that gap between back testing and live trading.
So you're getting a feel for the market's rhythm, but without the risk.
But Dr. Elder mentions that some people they excel at paper trading, but then struggle with real money. Why do you think that is?
It all goes back to psychology. When there's no real risk, it's easy to stay detached, rational. But when your hard-earned cash is on the line, emotions can cloud your judgment. Paper trading can't fully replicate that pressure.
It's like practicing your golf swing at the driving range versus on the course with people watching.
Right.
The pressure changes the game. It's a great point. Practice is essential, but nothing can fully replicate the real deal. Speaking of preparation, Dr. Elder also talks about these black box and gray box trading systems that some people try to rely on. What's the deal with those?
He's not a fan, to put it mildly.
Right.
Black box systems are like those, get rich quick schemes. They promise to tell you exactly what and when to trade,
Yeah.
but they don't reveal their secret sauce, the logic behind the signals. So it's like blindly following someone else's roadmap, not knowing if it's outdated or even leading you in the right direction.
Exactly. And Dr. Elder stresses that markets are constantly changing. So a system that worked in the past is no guarantee for future success. You're essentially putting your faith in someone else's past intelligence, which can be a recipe for disaster.
It's like trying to navigate a new city using a map from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You might get lucky, but but chances are you'll end up lost.
What about these gray box systems? Are they any better?
They're they're a bit more transparent. They might give you some insight into their principles and allow you to tweak certain parameters,
Mhm.
but Dr. Elder still cautions against relying on them blindly. You need to understand the why behind the what, the logic driving the system to truly make informed decisions.
So it seems like the real key is to develop our own understanding, our own trading edge, as he calls it. But how do we even begin that journey?
It's a journey of continuous learning and self-discovery.
It involves studying the markets, experimenting with different tools and indicators, and finding a system that aligns with your personality and risk tolerance. But it's not just about the technical stuff. Dr. Elder stresses the importance of self-reflection, keeping a detailed trading journal.
He talks about it being the cornerstone of civilized life. That's quite a statement. What should we be tracking in this journal?
Everything. The date, time, entry and exit points, the size of your position, your rationale for the trade, even your emotions at the time. He even suggests revisiting your trades months later to see if your initial analysis holds up in hindsight.
Yeah.
It's about identifying those subtle biases and patterns in your decision making.
It's like holding up a mirror to your trading mind,
Yeah.
seeing what works, what doesn't, and where those blind spots might be lurking.
Yeah.
He also mentions this intriguing concept called the trade APGAR. Tell me more about that.
It's brilliant, really. He was inspired by the APGAR score used to assess newborn babies' health, but instead of identifying health problems, the trade APGAR helps you pinpoint the healthiest trade ideas. You ask yourself 5 key questions about a potential trade, and score each answer on a scale of 0 to 2.
So it's like a filter to weed out those impulsive trades that are likely to land you in the red.
Exactly. And the question should be tailored to your specific system or strategy. He emphasizes that it's not about finding a one size fits all solution. It's about understanding the principles and adapting them to your own unique approach.
It all comes back to that self-awareness and continuous learning we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
We we've got to be students of the market and of ourselves. Now, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
are there any other key takeaways from Dr. Elder's routine or approach that we haven't covered yet?
He emphasizes the importance of having a diversified pool of ideas. He uses this great analogy of having 2 pools where he fishes for trading opportunities. One pool is his own technical analysis, scanning for stocks with specific patterns that fit his criteria.
So he's casting his net wide, but still being very selective about what he goes after.
Exactly. His other pool is comprised of recommendations from other successful traders he respects. He figures that with so many smart people out there, there's bound to be at least one good idea worth considering.
It's like getting a second opinion from a trusted advisor, but still ultimately making your own call.
Precisely. And no matter how great the setup, execution is key. Dr. Elder emphasizes having a clear plan for entry, target, and stop, and always managing your position size according to your risk tolerance.
So it's that three-legged stool again: analysis, execution, and risk management, all equally vital for success.
Well, we've covered an incredible amount of ground today, from the psychology of the markets to the nitty-gritty of different trading tools and strategies. What would you say is the most important message Dr. Elder leaves us with?
For me, it's a reminder that trading is a journey, not a destination. There's always more to learn, new challenges to embrace, and our own inner landscape to master. And that ongoing process of learning and self-discovery, that's where the real rewards lie. It's a powerful message. Dr. Elder doesn't just teach us about trading, he teaches us about ourselves. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the new trading for a living. What a journey it's been. We've unpacked a wealth of wisdom from Dr. Elder, and I hope this has inspired you to continue exploring this endlessly fascinating world of trading. Remember, knowledge is power, but only when combined with self-awareness, discipline, and a healthy dose of risk management. Until next time, happy trading.